to the era of coups and military rule, and now to the complex dynamics of modern democratic governance. Now, his latest book offers a deeply reflective and personal account of the country's political evolution.
Hi, friend. Where are we going today?
Just use your imagination.
My family is the only thing that matters to me right now.
This is the stuff that Munich dreamed about.
These guys are the best.
GoTV's ready to take you from your hometown to roaring stadiums and even on international adventures. So let's go together, from home or on the go with GoTV Stream.
Sounds like a great idea.
Woohoo! GoTV. Love it.
Our mission here at TV3 is that the news comes first, and that's the promise of News Central.
With reporters every corner of the country.
Consignment to attend reaction
To production, building lions.
And experts across the subjects that affects you the most.
We stay across the big stories that impact you the most as they break, develop and evolve into major national issues.
With all angles covered across the country and across every subject. I am Keminni Amanor.
And I am Eric Mawina Egbeta.
News Central, live weekdays at 12 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news. Poverty makes you do what you otherwise would not do. Wealth makes you live the way you wish to live. But revenge cancels the lines between poverty and riches.
It's either you're saying something progressive, or I'll just tell your wife that I'm carrying your child.
Where is my father?
Now that he's coming closer to the community,
Papa, people forget your own plans. So I go figure my own.
This is the show that brings finality to all the critical issues. It is the stage where all the facts are checked, issues thoroughly interrogated, opinions shaped, and debates settled. But over here, we do more than just talk. We resolve problems. We hold those in power accountable. We address all the key happenings in society, from politics to health to education to everything you deem important. And we will send to the voice of the ordinary Ghanaian. This is the show that sets the agenda.
Agenda now shows on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first.
I am Keminni Amanor, and my next guest is a founding member of the NPP, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. In the interview you're about to see, he also delves into the leadership crisis within the new Patriotic Party, the legacy of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and the state of Ghana today. Today's program is not only a historical journey, but also a call to re-examine the ideals on which the nation was founded, and a thoughtful commentary on where it is headed. Okay, welcome to Hot Issues once again.
Yeah.
There was a coup that was successful, and it took out Ichampong.
Oh, yeah.
Ushering in SMC2.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about that experience and how you, those of you who had been imprisoned because of Ichampong's government felt about that.
No, what really happened was that when the government itself, the inner circle, got fed up with Ichampong, they decided to remove him. I'm talking about General Date Wellington, General Akufo, General Kote, Air Vice Marshal Yaobuachi,
right,
and Joy Amedume, Admiral Joy Amedume. They were then the government. That's why I mentioned earlier the service commanders. In all the various units, they are the top most senior. So they decided now to move Ichampong. It wasn't a joke. But he was so sharp. And this story can be told to you by General Numensa. He's still alive. So, Champon was invited to a meeting. First, normally, they had the time they meet as a cabinet. You follow me? And the day that they decided they would move him, they invited him to a meeting. And Champon said, oh, he wasn't well. He had a cold. But they convinced him to come down. He came down. And that was when he was compelled to sign a paper, remove him from office. There was no gunshots at all, because by then they have removed his guards. You know, these are all typical soldiers' affairs, so they know how to go about it. So when Achampon was removed, then the changes started. So we were in, when he was removed, we were not released immediately. Others started going, like Pawili, like Bedema, and others were released. It took a little time, about 3 weeks were meant before we were released. We were there one day when the then director of prisons called Agbo came there. We were invited to the office of the director of Oshafort prisons, and we were told, government says we should be released immediately. In fact, he brought a document signed by General Akufo. So we asked them, because it was getting late. It was after 6. We said, can we sleep so that we go there? They said, no, you must sleep now. So we have to make contact with our families, and then we were
That's
out.
how you were released.
And then the next day we came for our items that probably they are keeping.
And that marked your exit from the military.
Exactly. Then after that, we were released somewhere in May. And then not quite long after that, May 15, Rawlings made his first attempted coup.
And this was May 1970. 79.
May 15, which failed. Okay. So Rawlings was arrested, tried. But before the trial, once again, the government had a military intelligence briefing from a very good intelligence officer called Colonel Amanor Ojija. And the government didn't take it serious. He cautioned them that Rawlings should not be given a platform to talk. But they want to be democratic. You follow me? Now, secondly, as a soldier, Rawlings should have been given what we call close trial. We call that close court-martial. It will be all military affair. But they didn't listen. They allowed even pressmen to come there. So the pressmen came. So when they reported, Rawlings spoke and they reported, the next day, the junior officers and the ordinary soldiers, they realized, because they talk about corruption and all sort of things, just like we had not long ago. And then the soldiers realized there was a lot happening. So they got into the streets. And for 3 days, there was no government in this country. Everybody was scared. By then, we had just been released. So my plan was, do I still stay in or go out? If you say you are going out, how do you get out?
And you say in the book that perhaps, you know, if you were not in prison, maybe you would have been part of the
absolutely. Because, you know, I mentioned a friend of mine at 1 battalion of infantry called Kenneth Smith.
Yes.
But Captain Smith. He left as a major. He was part of the June 4th group, a key figure. But he was officer commanding a depot we have in Michel Camp, where all the ammunitions in Ghana are kept.
I see.
So when it came to ammunition, it was no problem. And we were so close, I couldn't imagine that something of that nature will happen without getting involved. No, that's true.
But as fate will have it, you were not part of June 4th.
No.
Your reflections on June 4th are what I'll describe mixed.
Yeah.
Because while you describe it as a pivotal moment from May 15th until the Revolution Day itself, June 4th, when a lot of killings went on. You also touch on the killings and how brutal they were, and how they may have been regionally targeted also, perhaps to put fear in people.
They were. Because if you watch the selection carefully, and this is what one thing I've been warning governments in this country, so particularly civilian governments, that when they are doing things, they have to be careful. I mentioned about the appointment of Akutu Achampong, and later what he did. The military don't play at all in ranks. Rank means seniority. If you want to play with their seniority, then you'll be in trouble. Now, when they were killing, listen to me carefully. They killed General Kote from Greater Accra region. They killed Air Marshal Yawabuachi from Ashanti region. They killed Afrifa from Ashanti region. They killed Joy, what do you call him? Admiral Joy Amedume from Volta region. They killed Border Guards Commander General Utuka from Volta region. And then who else? I've got 5. Yeah. Then they realized that there was nobody from the north. Very interesting. All those I mentioned, there was not a Northerner. Which follows, no Northerner got involved with this sort of bribery and this sort of, So you know what they did? They brought Colonel Feli. Very certain. And remember my warning Feli when we were on the desert, if you could recollect. They brought Feli, nice man, who was then in charge of foreign affairs as a minister. And Feli was added to make the equation right. And he was shot.
I see.
So you see, that's why it's dangerous. That's why I have always been against this so-called protocolist in the military. Because it is dangerous. When we were young officers, and I was once in a company that was selecting soldiers, not officers, we went to every regional capital in the country. We ended up at Bolga. But then Bolga was not even a regional capital. And we took first the indigents. You follow me? Because the military is not a one-tribe affair. And they had reasons in those days why they do that.
And you make that quite clear in the book. And, I just encourage people to read the book because on the killings, there's one of the soldiers whose entire family, wife and children.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was Colonel Enimful. He was the chairman of the commission that tried Jerry Rawlings. You follow me?
Right.
Now, after the soldiers have taken over that night, that June 4th night, a group of soldiers went to Burma camp to his residence, killed him, killed the wife, killed the children.
Right, right.
Oh, yes.
Which brings me to the point, whether or not the continuous commemoration of June 4th is being done right, or whether or not it's even necessary at all as a country.
You see, when you talk of history, it's a historic part of our development. And no one should ignore it. No one should ignore it. It's different from celebrating it. But no one should ignore it. And these are some of the mistakes that we have been making. For instance, I made mention of July 1st. It's an important part of our history. But it appears it has been ignored. The name July 1st should be there as a Republic Day. Other unnecessary, what you call holidays could be dropped and then have it celebrated. That is an important day for this nation.
So, how long were you in Nsawam for?
Oh, almost 2 years.
And within that period, you got to know Kwame Pieni?
No, Kwame Pianim, no. In Sawam, going to Sawam was...
That was the second in Sawam.
That was the second
right.
in Sawam. That Kwame Pianim was there. That was during the regime of Jerry John Rawlings.
What took you to Sawam the second time?
Oh, the second time it was quite interesting. I was in the US, and I came down back home, and I passed through London, and I met somebody I've known, a lady I've known for years. I knew the family, the husband and everything. They were here, the husband was here. He was a German who was doing business here. So when Rawlings came, they all ran away. For Rawlings' time, it was really rough. Now, the wife told me the husband wanted to come back to Ghana, and that he was in Lome, Togo, and told me that she has had a conversation with Colonel C.D. Benny, also an officer. Now, Benny had once been head of military intelligence, head of national security before. So when I came, I saw Benny. Benny said, oh, he has already got a permit from the government agency that's responsible for issuing permits. He gave them reasons. He showed it to me. I saw it. So I went with Benny to Lome to bring this gentleman down. Immediately, 4 days after that, we were arrested and sent straight. First, I was sent to airport police station for about 2 nights, and I was moved to James Fort, where Nkrumah stayed before. And I was in James Fort, and by then we had so-called People's Court. And things were rough. Things were very, very rough. I could have been killed easily, but if I tell you what happened, you open your mouth. Now, we stayed there for a while, then later we were rushed to the tribunal. The tribunal is now where we have, as Parliament House, part of it. We tried and sentenced. I was given 5 years. The colonel was given 5 years. There was a lawyer who first was given 3 years. So we're throwing like that. It was then that I met Kwame Pianim.
Right.
And by then, Kwame had already served almost 10 years in prison. You see, it took some people put their lives online before we had this so-called democracy. That's why at times some of us get mad before this happening. You follow me? Kwame has served 10 years of his life already.
Was that the beginning of your involvement with what we see today?
That led me to be interested into politics.
Politics.
It went as far back as my first visit in Oshaford. You follow me?
But your particular engagement with Kwame Pianim, was that the beginning of your involvement with what we see today, the NPP? Absolutely. By then there was no NPP. You see, and an interesting thing happened. Now, we stayed in detention. Kwame once told me, there's no doctor here, but there's a clinic here. I didn't even know. Someone is a huge place. Not knowing there was a complete clinic. Even there's a dental chair there. So Kwame organized, and the place was renovated. He's been there for years, so he has a contact. But I think he contacted the Roman Catholic Church, and they came in. So he said, why don't you practice? First I said, oh, don't worry me. But later I started practicing there. A prisoner looking after, not only prisoners, but officers and their families. And your nurse was also a prisoner?
And my nurse was a prisoner, a lady prisoner. A very senior lady prisoner. Very sad development. Incident, which,
I think if you, when I read that aspect of the book, I thought, oh, that's a quite refreshing move away from the political trend of this book. And people should grab the book and read the story of the nurse who worked with you. Indeed. But then you practiced that medicine, your relationship with Kwame Pianim closer and closer.
And Kwame did a lot of work. It was then that I realized he has the potential to leave this country. It was quite clear. There are two people that I saw in my life who missed the presidency of this country. As for Kwame, it was because he was denied it. You follow me? By the courts. The other one.
Let's talk about that denial for those.
The other one died. That's Kojo Banredu. Excellent man. You follow me? So Kwame, whilst in prison, was able to have farms around the prison. You won't believe it. Pineapple farms, corn. Then one day he invited me and Kenneth Benny. So we went out of the prison gate. We were allowed. We had the warders behind us. And he said he was setting up a poultry farm. I thought he was joking. In less than 4 minutes, his chickens were ready for table. And he served the then Ghana Airways.
From prison?
Oh, absolutely. He's alive, you can't see. From prison. So such a person, what couldn't he do?
I see how you write about Kwame in the book. You eulogize him.
Oh, yeah.
You describe him as the president, as you have said already, the president this country never got.
Never got.
And my question is, how influential was he on you from that, that point onwards?
Oh, you mean after we were released?
After your encounter with him in prison for at least 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
What influence did he have on you?
Look, Kwame is a man who has leadership qualities. You see that straight. Whilst I was in detention, I was in prison with him. He organized Accra House of Folk, football club, because he knew what I did for the club. I brought a big revolution to heart by sacking 25 regular players. Almost all of them were blaster players, and bringing small boys like Shamukwe, Abladeko. I brought them in, and the boys were doing wonderfully well. So Kwame organized it. I didn't even know until the last minute. A match between Prison 11 and Accra House of Folk. And in Sawan prison, the House of Folk bus came into the prison. So if a person can do this, what else can't he do? When they finished, they went away. It was after that I addressed the masses. I addressed the boys that God willing, very soon they will see me. And it was there that an old politician by name Kwesi Ama, who was Kwame Nkrumah's minister of, I think, trade or something. He was then in prison too. In those days, you have big men in prison during Rollins time. So he was then in prison too. And Kwesi Ama, after I've talked to the boys, came to me and said, where were you during Nkrumah's time? I said, I was a small boy. He said, you are an old Kupanga. So I said, what's the meaning of Kupanga? But I don't understand the word. Then he laughed. They said, anytime Nkrumah spots a young man who is sharp, he calls him a Kupanga. So, so my political interest really started from there. So when we were released, and look at what will happen. When we were released, I was in my house at cantonments. Then a friend came to me. You might even have heard of the name, called Ajiri Blankson, Stanley Ajiri Blankson.
The former mayor of Accra.
Former mayor of Accra and past member of Council of Elders. He's a Council of State.
Of State.
Yeah. And he said I should help him to have a look at something. So I went with him. We went to what now you call immigration headquarters. We went to the second floor. By then the building was being constructed. He knocked a door, so a gentleman came, opened the door. A shortish man like that. The moment he saw me, then he said, "Doctor, now that I've seen you, I can sleep." Ajuri Branson is alive, you can answer. I will never forget it. So I got shocked and surprised. Then he went on further to say that we wrongly imprisoned you. Because mind you, we were there, we didn't finish our sentence when we were released. Do you follow me? Now, it was then that he introduced himself. He said, "I am Inspector General C.O. Lamti." Inspector General of Police. He played a big role in Rawlings government. Well, he died recently. You follow me? So you see, these are some of the things. If I had died, I would have been dead long ago. Long ago. He confessed himself because he was the one responsible for investigation, prosecution, and everything.
So eventually, you were released from prison. You came on to live your life, but you would go back and check on Kwame Pieni.
Oh yes, Kwame. I was so much attached to Kwame. You see, I like people who are open and very sincere. Kwame is a very, very sincere person. A man who at the age of, I think 20 or 20 something, became the first youngest principal secretary. What do you now call directors in the ministry? In the Ministry of Finance. He's brilliant and he listens a lot. He advises, and anytime he advises, he's on spot. You follow me? So Kwame, when we were released, Kwame was moved to Anomabu prisons. You follow me? Now, I went to London, I came back, I asked for Kwame. They said he's no more in Sawan. Oh, so I thought he has been released. Then they told me that if I want to see, I should go to Anomabu. Oh. I took my car, drove from Accra to Anomabu. I went to the prison gate. I knocked, they opened me. I said, "I would like to see Mr. Kwame." He said, no, it's not here. Oh. But what the prison guard said was that he wasn't feeling fine. They have sent him to Cape Coast. So if I go there now, I might see him. So I continued to Cape Coast. You follow me? Then, whilst I was driving, I saw 3 warders with 1 prisoner in prison uniform. That's white, those white khaki, and then the stars. That's the prison uniform. Working. Who was that? Kwame Pieni. I stopped the car. He saw me, couldn't believe it. And I packed Kwame Pieni and the 3 men. And we drove back to Anomabu. And I had the opportunity, across them was a bar or whatever, this thing. We sat down there and chatted and talked. Not quite long after, then Kwame was
released too. And that's why in the book you say Kwame Pieni was one who left a lasting impression on me. How was the NPP formed and what was your involvement?
When we came out of detention, and Kwame was out too, we had very senior members of our party. I'm talking about the tradition. People like Darocha, Odwe Sais, Peter Lajete, Bikai from Kumasi, Aram Ponsan, and others. I can't count all of them. Many. And these were elders of the party. But then there was no political party. So we're meeting clandestinely. Meetings were taking place under the guise of Dankwa Buzia Association. First, that's how it started. Dankwa Buzia, nothing more. Then later, Dombo was added to it. Dankwa Buzia Dombo. We're meeting at places you won't even suspect that there will be meeting there. Because the law says there shouldn't be any political gathering. I remember people like Dr. Janice Selby and all the KGO Sebunso, all the big men. I was even junior to them, far junior. So we meet at various places. At times we go to Kumasi, we go to Kufodra, we travel here and there, we Kufuor. So the group started building up until finally we got the group intact, but still not officially announced because government has not lifted that particular clause. Finally, when that was done, we started meeting officially now. And our meeting place was focused at Rimway Hotel. That is where now they have that bank, French bank. So that was where we were meeting. Now openly, now we started holding meetings and rallies. Now, until finally when government decided that we are now moving into a democratic dispensation, we had to go and register. I remember vividly. We went to register. Now, before then, from regional capitals to Greater Accra, there were a lot. There were people who were all asked to help financially to build the organization because we were weak financially on the onset. And also, these are people who really believed in the party's ideology and principles. So in Accra here, I remember there's a gentleman called Mr. Antwi, something Antwi. He was administrative officer. The general secretary was called Ajinim Boatin, and the chairman of the party was called PJ Darocha. And we had an office at Kokomemle. And the treasurer of the party was this guy from Kofodra. I will get the name soon.
What was the ideals of the party when you registered it?
Ideal?
What was the objective of the party?
Oh, objective of the party, you see, the leaders then realized that the nation is not moving forward. Because over 50 years and our development is nothing to write home about. So they believe strongly that when we get power, this nation should be developed. Do you follow me? So the idea was, they came out with the idea of development in freedom. These are people who believe in democracy. That's what all of us believed in. But it must be democracy in freedom. That is, there must be free elections, election devoid of any sort of influence or anything, monetary or whatever you call it. That is the idea. Because most of them that I know, they died paupers. And they really served this country. And that is not what we are doing now. That's where my problem is. That is not what we are doing now. Now, there are people who say, I'm not a founding member. So I keep on telling you, those of them who don't know the party, they should, you see, they have destroyed the party. The party wasn't like that. And I'm always praying that we still have senior people around. They should find a way to get the party back to the state that it was. At the moment, the party has been destroyed. Look at the results of the last elections.
And you think it's because of the factionalism in the party?
It's not a question of factionalism. It's a question of leadership. Leadership. I keep on saying all the time. Leadership. And I personally have really been shocked by the leadership of Akufo-Addo. Because I had a lot of faith in them. If we had to discuss that, to take a long time. I'm not interested. He came in and he never listened to anybody. You follow me? But we have people like Kwame Pianim. If he comes from the economy, you have nothing to worry about. But brought in your own cousins and it became a family affair.
You think that's where the problem started from?
That is where the problem started.
But he's no longer the president, he's no longer leader of the party. Why do you think the party is still struggling to find its feet?
He's still pulling strings behind. We know that party very well. You follow me? Yeah. And recently, I condemned that so-called thank you march.
The thank you tour.
It wasn't necessary. And I even talk about it, that would rather create problems in the party.
Why?
And it started. Look at the stabbing in Kumasi, which led to the, what do you call it, to Kennedy Ajopon just leaving the group. I spoke about it 2 days before. You follow me? So I get surprised when at times you even advise them from afar and they won't listen. But the boys there now, their interest is not the development of this country. Their interest is to come and steal, make money. Look at that young Eduboyini. Look at the sort of charges brought on.
Signals
yes!
Bureau.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Millions. And the crafty way with which they get the money, they thought it would never be traced. So I have warned President Mahama. I said it on air yesterday. If they fail to prosecute these people who have stolen money, I'm telling you, they will never be forgiven.
I mean, in the Dubois case, we know the matter is in court. He's denied the accusations against him. We'll see how the matter goes on in court. But, you know, I go back to the issue that if it's a matter of leadership for the NPP, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is no longer the president of this country or the leader of the party, that will fall on the doorsteps of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, wouldn't it?
Look, in my book, I say the mess in which we find ourselves in, we need a kind of leadership that can make decisive decisions without any undue interference. And I doubt Bawumia has that temerity as a leader.
How so? I
now,
mean, he's told us time without number that he is his own man now.
Then I went on to say, we have reached a point in our nation's history where the stakes are incredibly high and the solutions required demand nothing short of bold, decisive leadership. The economic and social challenges facing Ghana today, ballooning debt, rising unemployment, and an eroded public trust in governance cannot be addressed by half measures or by a leader who is constantly looking over his shoulder for approval from power brokers. And when I say that, you understand me? We need a leader. No, what we need is a leader with courage and the will to break free from political patronage. To break free from political patronage. Who can make tough decisions even when they are unpopular or go against the grain of his own party's entrenched interests.
You don't think that the former vice president is capable of that?
But you should have seen it yourself. Now, I am not convinced that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has shown that level of resolve. The final one. Throughout his time as vice president and the head of the economic management team, Bawumia's track record has not demonstrated the kind of independent mindedness or tenacity we need right now. Yes, he has the intellect. Yes, he has the intellect and the technocratic know-how. But being a good technocrat does not necessarily translate to effective leadership, especially in a complex and political charged environment like ours. So I saw long ago that Bawumia cannot. The point is, he wasn't even allowed. When a leader comes to tell you that he is not in charge and somebody else is in charge, how do you look at it?
But you can see that he's already sowing seeds for 2028 elections. You don't think the NPP should go with him again?
What he's doing now, he's rather worsening the situation. It's as simple as that. You have been in cabinet. Decisions have been taken on the economy, even political decisions. You have come to say that you were not part or you disagreed with e-levy decisions. If it had been me and I disagree, I'll take my pen and resign. And that is what I meant in the earlier decision.
What must the NPP do before they even think of, getting a new flag bearer or even maintaining the old flag bearer if they want for the 2028 elections?
To me, what they have to do now, and I've said it time and again, those who led us into opposition, I'm talking about the national executive, they should have resigned on their own and block. And then create an IMC to run the party and go to elections. Elections that will be or should be devoid of money influence. It is true that we shall get the right person who can run the NPP. We've
heard others suggest that, look, they should bring back the likes of Paula Foucault, Kwabena Japan, Sami Crab, who were let go back in 2015.
Oh, yes. In politics, numbers matter. A man like Paula Foucault is a true MPP man. A man like Sami Crab, a young man, he's true MPP, he's got experience, he's been regional chairman before. At his age. You follow me? Now, Akufo-Addo brought in Blay, a CPP man who was sacked from the CPP. He worked for General Eskin even dismissed him. Eskin told me that himself. How on earth can he become a leader of our party, NPP? And the worst thing is that when he was campaigning, he promised each constituency a new bus. Asking whether he was able to provide one. He came there to make money. And that is all. And these are the things when I talk, they say I'm not a founding member. Nobody is bigger than that party, than anybody. Those who know me and what I've done in that party. I was even once a national regional organizer during election period, a Dubahini's period.
We also hear, the likes of Dr. Amwakoba say that, look, they are moving away to form a different party. Could that be the future of the NPP?
That one is frightening. It's very frightening. When I heard it, then I say, history is going to repeat itself. But what Amwakoba said, if you know the history of the party, you will get frightened. When we during Akufo's time, we were to form a political party, there was a division. We had UNC and then PFP. UNC led by Oforiata, PFP led by, Victor Usu. And the interesting thing is that it appeared the division was based on tribal lines. You follow what I'm saying? And yes, when you look at it carefully, that was what it was. And that is exactly when we are not careful, would happen again. And for me, that's the only thing that worries me. You follow me? We have not careful, the party is going to be split into two again, and that will be the end of us.
besides that, you also talk about other political issues. You talk about Alan Tremantain. You talk about Charlotte Osei as, you know, the electoral commissioner and how she's, you know, kicked out of office. You have your commentary on that. You have to grab this book to read that. We can't discuss everything here.
But I think I would like to say a word or two about Alan Tremantain. Now, Alan makes certain basic mistakes. And he proves to me, I'm not calling anybody, myself, that he's not a politician. It's not everybody who can be a politician.
What were the basic mistakes that he made?
When he became part of Akufo-Addo's government, there were a lot of infractions, right from the word go, buying of seats. It came out in dollars. And he was the minister responsible for trade and industry, a newly formed government. Apart from that, there were a lot of infractions. And Alan is a respectable young man. And I feel with his experience, and even the name he writes, he should have had the courage to resign from government. If he had done that earlier, believe me, he would have led any group, or later he would become the leader of MPP. But he failed to do that. He failed to do that.
Should he consider the 2024 elections an end to his political career and perhaps look into other things?
No, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think he has any future in politics. No. That is my belief. I don't think so. He's not behaved like a shrewd politician. A shrewd politician knows exactly what he does. And my worry is that at the moment, it appears the political class are failing the masses. It's a big worry to me. And the political class are fed up with military rule as well. But whenever we get into the military regime, we are confronted with problems. Now, if we are not careful, what will happen next is mass revolution.
What are your thoughts about the new government?
The new government.
The new John Mahama administration.
Well, there is a new government. I'm glad you used the word new. To be able to form a government within a period of a short time, that I think is okay. The president also been able to put in place a cabinet within a short time. It's also very good. Now, promises given by the president, I think majority of them has been fulfilled. But what I will warn them about, that if they are not careful, can unseat them, is the destruction going on of our farms and water bodies. I'm telling you, if they don't tackle it seriously, to me, that should be the number one priority. But it appears it's being joked with. As I said before, others have said it, they should declare state of emergency in that area and hand it over to the military to see to. And the military will have it stopped within weeks, if not months. Because now our water bodies are all being destroyed. I think it's only the Volta, which even I heard is being polluted somewhere from the north. So that one, I see that as number one. But right now, our cocoa industry is running down. Farmers are not interested in farming. Water purification is costing us tons of billions of dollars. And if we don't arrest that, now go to somewhere in the Western region and you see the water and you'll be sad. So to me, that should be number one priority of John Mahama, to put that thing straight alone. And also, I am personally against arresting of foreigners who have been destroying our forest reserves and have them deported. They must be tried and imprisoned here first before they are sent out. That is where they will learn their lesson.
I see. Just, a couple of things and then we wrap up. Your thoughts on the removal of the Chief Justice and how it's going so far? What readings are you making into it?
Look, this country is a funny country. I'm not a lawyer, but I can reason. We have a constitution, and the constitution have certain things there which we have to follow, procedures. The head of state, a complaint has been made to him. He is following the procedures. The procedures have not even been completed. The committee necessary to look into the case has not come out with their own findings. Then what is the noise people are making about? Lawyers trying to attack. You see, it is pathetic. It is pathetic. If I were the former CG, if I call her so, having gone through this, with all this chain of complaints against her, they are about 7 now. What I would have done to save the country and my name and my family is to take a pen and resign. That's all. Why is she still there? Or she wants to be there? And those who are forcing that she should be there, what is their interest in that? The best thing for that lady to do is to take a pen and paper to resign. That's all.
Indeed. Doc, before we go, when is the launch of the book?
Oh, the launch will be on the 7th of
That's
May.
your birthday?
Yeah. Incidentally, it happens to be my birthday, and it will be at the Christ the King Roman Catholic Church, the one just opposite Flagstaff House. Yeah, the hall there.
And anybody who wants to attend,
it's free.
There?
You can come in.
Okay, and purchase a book.
Exactly, and purchase a book.
And purchase the book.
Right.
But after,
well, it contains a lot.
Indeed, absolutely. So much that we cannot do in a 50-minute interview, which is why we'll put the rest of the conversation on our YouTube channel. Go watch the rest of my interview with Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. There's so much in this book. We haven't even talked half of what is in here. But after the launch, where can people buy the book?
Well, I think the first place they should look at is University of Ghana bookshop. Yeah, that would be the first place.
Very well. Doc, always a pleasure talking to you. It's always insightful, the memories you share with us of the beginnings of the country we call Ghana. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you too for watching. If you missed this episode, there'll be a playback, but there'll also be a longer version of our conversation because there's so much that we couldn't bring to you on television. So find a full version of the interview with Doc on our YouTube channel. But if you'd like to attend the book launch, it's May 7th at Christ the King, 3 p.m. You make your way there, go meet Doc, let him sign a copy of the book for you, purchase it. It would help with, bringing you more memories in this codified form. I like it this way. But also, again, just a quick reminder, watch the full interview on YouTube. If you are not able to attend the launch to purchase a book, it will be at the University of Ghana bookshop. I'm Keminni Amanor. This is Hot Issues. I'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye.
When the sun rises, there is hope. While this hope lingers on, the citizens look up to the government, the economy, the national development agenda, and everything in between. On Ghana Tonight, It's our utmost priority to bring you insightful conversations on the economy, break down the biggest issues while setting the agenda for transformation and national development. The big and important stories are treated from the human interest angle, while the facts and the figures are painted with precision. So now, let's cut the convention and start the conversation here on Ghana Tonight. I am your host, Alfred Okamsi.